So who is the best sage, or who are the best sages in Fire Emblem Engage? In this tier list, we're going to be ranking people based on how good they are on Sage. Now, this is not using DLC. DLC changes the game so much that you could basically make anyone decent on anything because of Star Sphere. So this is just going to be base game. All right, so let's start off with Al Crits, aka Al Christ or Al Christ. So dude has 10% magic growth and 45% speed. So on Sage, he would have decent speed, he'd have 10% build because that's what his build is, and he would have 40% magic growth. I'm going to say he would be okay. He's not going to be the best, but he'll get a little bit of build, get some speed. The magic stat will be kind of low over time from leveling, but he would be an okay Sage. Alear on Sage. So Alear has 50% speed, 20% magic. I would say Alear would be a good Sage. Definitely better on other classes, but this would be viable. It would be good. It wouldn't be great. It wouldn't be overpowered. It wouldn't be okay. It would be somewhere a little bit better. Now, obviously, you'd have to second seal onto it, but, that's true for most of these units. All right, Alfred, the big man himself. 5% magic growth, 40% speed, low bases. I would say he's a bad Sage, potentially a very bad Sage. Amber. Where's the dude at? I have their growths off screen, just so I can verify. All right, Amber has 0% magic growth and 30% speed. I'm going to say he's going to be a very bad Sage. Now, when you're running Sage, you need to do one of two things. You either need to hit really hard, like that could be through Thoron for crits, whatever, or you need to double, and if you want to kill things. So having low speed hurts, and also having no magic growth, so he would just be 30% from Sage, would hurt him, so he would have very low magic. And on Sage, I would say it's like slightly overpowered. Some people might disagree with this because Pandreo exists or something, but I think with the right investment early on, she pops off on Sage and can easily one round a lot of things. Now, she can't enemy phase, so she's more of like the Sage archetype, but I think she's really good on Sage. Boucheron, 0% magic growth, 45% speed. I'm going to say he's very bad as well. If you have 0% magic growth, you're just going into very bad. 30% magic growth, on a class that wants high damage, like high magnitude for damage, is pretty terrible. Boone, 10% magic growth, 35% speed, 10% build. I'm going to say he's bad. He's definitely better than these because at least he has some, and he also has the build, and with some speed fixing, maybe. Saline on Sage. So she has good stats for magic. She has 25% magic, which is okay, and 45% speed. She's kind of like this hybrid class that likes to go on her own unique class, but she'd be a good Sage, I would say. She has 5% build. She's probably like similar to Alear. There's like slight differences. The build is the same. The speed is 5% lower, and the magic is 5% higher versus Alear, so it would be a little bit better. Chloe on Sage. Interestingly enough, Chloe has 35% magic growth and 55% speed, so she actually might be a really good Sage. She also has 75% health growth and 40% dex, so she'll have decent accuracy, really high speed. She has 5% build, which is okay, but the 35% magic growth, pretty good. So like if you put this on her early, you could get her to 65% magic growth early, and then the 55% speed. Now, she starts off on a class that gives her, I believe, 20%, 15%, or 20, or plus 10% on Lance Flyer. So she's at 65% speed growth starting out. But, you switch her on to Sage, then she'd be 55. She could be S tier, maybe A tier. I'll put her in A just to be safe. She could pop off on Sage because of her speed growth and her magic growth, which is actually pretty high. And she has good health, so she could kind of enemy phase a little bit. Citrine on Sage with Dire Thunder is OP, so that's the use case. Otherwise, she's just like here. But with Dire Thunder, I would say these are tied, like in terms of effectiveness. If she's on Dire Thunder, she actually can be relevant throughout an entire run, similar to Anna. And this requires exploiting the game to get the ring, and this requires some early investment, so they're very similar. Clan on Sage. 10% magic growth, 50% speed. I would say he's like here. He would be okay at it. He at least has some magic growth, so at least he gets to 40%, and 50% speed would help him for sure. Double. So he does have low build though, so it's probably going to be Diamant on Sage. This one, 15% magic, 40% speed. I'll put him in here. He'll be with his brother. I think that's fair. All right, now we have to move down. So Etier. 0% magic growth, 35% speed. She's going in the very bad. She would be a horrible Sage. Fagato. So he has 25% magic and 55% speed. He actually would be a good Sage, just based on his growths. He also has 10% build growth, so he could wield Bolganone reasonably well in Nova. And he has 55% magic growth and 55% speed. That's pretty good. That's not bad. So it's kind of similar to Chloe. He would be a good Sage. Fram on Sage. 25% magic growth, 55% speed. 0% build, though. I would say she's like lower A tier on it. She would be good on this. She would just need some speed fixing for the tome weight if you want to use heavier tomes. But you can just upgrade an Elfire as an alternative. All right, Gold Mary Sage. 5% magic growth, 25% speed. Probably not going to be her best use case. Hortensia on Sage, I already know, is like A tier, I would say. It's definitely not OP, but it is good. It gives her some options. Maybe it's B tier, but it's like around here. Ivy on Sage, I would say, is also A tier. It's definitely not her best use, but it's still pretty strong on her. Jade. Surprisingly, she has 25% magic growth, but 30% speed. I would say she's like low, maybe like high C tier. Either low B or high C, just based on these growths. So the growths matter here because you just need speed. You need speed and plus build, or just a lot of speed to be able to double. Sage really needs to double for most of its builds to work on base game. Now for DLC, things get crazy, and DLC is like Bizarro world where everything is insane. So I'm evaluating this on the base game. All right, Jean on Sage. So Jean's bases 20% magic, 40% speed. On Sage, he would only be 40% speed, but he would be 80% magic growth. I would say with Dire Thunder, he could easily be S tier, just with Dire Thunder. Without Dire Thunder, he would be like A, maybe B, because of his speed. He was only 40%. It's not that much worse than Anna's, but his base dex is only 35%. So he would be less accurate, a little bit slower, and his magic would be similar. So it's a huge trade-off. All right, Kagetsu on Sage. So Kagetsu has really good speed growth. He has 50% dex and speed. He also has 10% build and 15% magic. So he would be, I would say, like here. I think he'd be a little bit worse than Chloe. She has slightly better speed than him and similar dex, but she has way better magic growth. She has 20%, so that's an extra 2 points on fixed growth per 10 levels, so that does matter. Oh, if you level up 30 times, it's 6 extra magic. That's significant. And she has more speed, so he does have slightly more build though. So, but yeah, the speed and the build kind of trade off, because having 5% more speed versus build, it's like the same thing, right? Yeah, so pretty similar. Okay, Lapis. So Lapis is fast. 55% speed, 20% magic growth, 5% build. I would put her like high A on Sage. She would be decent at it just because of her speed. She has 20% base magic growth, so you're looking at 50% magic, 55% speed. The only thing that's really a question is her dex. 35% dex, and I think her starting dex isn't that high, so that would be the only issue. Some like accuracy later on. Linden on Sage. I would say with the right build, he's S tier. With the crit Dire Thunder build, if you set it up correctly, he can just one round most things. Now, this is S tier for attacking, not necessarily for enemy phasing. So I'm assuming your sages aren't going to be getting smacked in the face. Most sages are going to be utility units that sometimes use engage abilities that attack at range to player phase mostly. So this is not enemy phasing at all. All right. Louis, 0% magic growth, 25% speed. Terrible. All right. Mavier. Mavier actually has some 40% magic growth, 35% speed. So he's got the magic, and he has 15% build. So he has the magic growth for it. He's at 70% magic growth on Sage. If you put him on Dire Thunder, he's potentially S tier, just to get his base magic up. He's either S tier or high A. In this, I don't know. Maybe this is a S tier. He still is frail, but all of these are frail for the most part. None of these are tanking, really. Let me think about this. Maybe he's like A tier because of the speed. He's kind of similar to Ivy in this way. He's just good because of the Dire Thunder crit in his personal. If you remove the Dire Thunder crit, I'd say he's like here or here. Same thing with him. He's like here, here. These are all Dire Thunder. This is the only one who isn't using Dire Thunder to stay here, in my opinion. All right, Marin on Sage. 25% magic growth, 50% speed, 10% build. That's pretty decent. She has good availability. I would say this is like probably like here. She's a little bit better than Fram. She's more durable. She has higher bases. Like her bases are good. So Fram has to kind of catch up and start getting magic levels. But Marin has good bases and should be a little bit better. Pandreo on Sage. Probably the best Sage in the game. Just because of his passive. He's one of the few magic units who can enemy phase. Because he has high health and he has good build growth as well. So his growths, 45% speed and dex, 60% HP, 15% build. So he ends up being really fast. And the only thing that he really struggles with is defense growth of 15%. But most magic units have poor defense growth. Like Anna's is only 20. So it's not like out of the ordinary. But his passive helps him avoid tank. And if you combine it with certain abilities and other interactions, you can get him avoid tanking very easily. Panette on Sage. This is getting strange. 10% magic, 25% speed. She would be like here or here. She's bad on Sage. What else? I don't even care what his growths are. You shouldn't not make him a dancer. Like you shouldn't undance him. So he has 15% magic growth, 50% speed. If you actually ran him as a Sage, he would be like here. But because you're throwing out your only dancer to do this, it's just a bad idea. Risotto on Sage. 25% magic, 45% speed. That's actually good. That's like decent. He's actually not bad at this. He actually would do okay. Saphir, 0% magic, 30% speed. Welcome to the bottom of the barrel, Saphir, for Sage. All right, everyone's favorite unit, Chimera. 25% magic, 45% speed. I would say she's like here as a Sage. She has 45% dex too, and 10% build. So that all adds up. That's not bad. Sami as a Sage, I'll say he's okay. He's better on other classes. All right. Your boy Vander. Now, if you let Vander cook, 10% magic, 35% speed. Yeah, he's terrible. He's never going to be good. His internal level's so high that by the time you can start deploying him, he's not going to be one-rounding anything, and he's just going to like struggle. It's so crazy how bad he is. All right, Veil on Sage. 45% magic growth is pretty good. 30% speed. I would say it's like low B tier. Maybe, well, I would say low B tier. Her speed is always like the problem for her. Her speed, she's probably better off on Mage Knight or just staying on her Dragon class. Yunaka, 25% magic, 45% speed, 5% build. Probably not her best use case. Maybe like here. Maybe like here is okay. I mean, you're throwing out her thievery. I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe it's a little more here, because it's still 45 speed, 25. Yeah, it's not that bad. It's reasonably decent. It's definitely better than these for sure, because at least you have some speed and some magic, like a good amount of magic. All right, Zelkov, 15% magic, 35% speed, 10% build, and he has high internal build. So he would be, I would say, high C tier on this, because he does have he has way higher build than Yunaka, so that offsets Bolganone weight and Excalibur weight. So you just need to speed fix him. but he would be okay at this. Yeah. All right. Who else? I think that's everyone, right? Oh, they added the new guys. Wow, this person updated their list. Way to go. They added the new guys. Okay, so here is my Sage list. So most units are kind of in here. There's a lot that are just bad. Like if you have 0% or like 10% in low speed, you're doomed on Sage in base game. With DLC, you can fix almost anything. So this list would change drastically. For the S tiers, I think these are the only two legitimate S tier sages in the game that don't need external help insofar as like bugging the game for the dire ring. So these are here on the dire ring. These are here because they can just legitimately perform on Sage. Now the only help she needs is just like maybe some babying for a chapter or two. But let me be Unreal Engine. Let me be Unreal Engine right now. If you don't baby units ever when you're playing, then you're probably not optimizing your XP gain. And babying doesn't have to be like you setting up kills for them. Babying can just be like letting them fight something and then healing them while your other units are killing other things, and then they just happen to kill that unit, the thing attacking them over time. That can be an example of just like you just need to funnel XP into Anna for like one chapter. That's it. But people overhype this so much. They're like, oh my god, you have to do like 20 things to get Anna to get to level 10. It's like, no, you have to do like one thing for like 10 minutes and then she's fine. But it's on chapters that are so easy that I just don't understand it. Like every time I run Anna, I don't run into this issue where I have to like baby her or treat her with kid gloves before she finally is useful. Like you can legitimately low man the early game with like 3 to 4 units and easily beat it. So I don't understand this argument that like, oh my god, I'm throwing out a deploy slot in the early game. It's like, dude, the early game with no DLC is very easy. Like there's like maybe 1 or 2 chapters where if you don't understand how to break them down on Maddening, they're difficult. But I remember early on, some people were giving me pushback about placing Vander low because they're like, oh, well, you just use him as you need him and he's good early and he helps you early. And it's like, well, if you just optimize your early gameplay around giving XP to units you actually want to use long term, you're being more optimal in terms of XP, maybe not in terms of efficiency, like for clearing the map fast, but you're being more efficient in terms of who's getting the resources they should be. And you also don't need Vander at all. And I think I've proven that in my one most recent run where I don't even use him. So I think the early game, those comments about Vander being good early, I think haven't aged well. But that being said, here's my Sage tier list. I think this is mostly accurate. Some things might move up or down. These would all move down if you're not getting the Dire Thunder Ring, for sure. Because without the Dire Thunder Ring, Linden, so like let's look at his bases. He starts out on Sage, I believe. Linden, so his starting speed is 19, which isn't bad, but you do get him on chapter 18, so he's definitely going to need a speed passive to double. His magic is 19, which is reasonable. His build is 10, so he has a good build. So with some speed fixing, maybe he's like a mid A tier Sage. I like these two more because she has an amazing passive and she has earlier availability, so you can level her up on Paralog. So by the time you get him, she's insane. And you can have like Speed Taker and Speed +5 on her with the Well easily. So by the time you get him, he's just already behind. So that's really the issue with some of these like later units. And with Jean to some degree does need babying if you want to power level him. So he's like a bigger investment than Anna. So I feel like he requires way more. Like she's already at level 5. She's on backup. You can just throw out Boucheron, hand her a compact axe +3. It's accurate enough that she can consistently finish kills. And you can throw Micaiah on her or not and just have her finish kills to level up and then also heal with Micaiah and then use Great Sacrifice every now and then. And she'll easily hit level 10 before chapter 9. And I have her consistently hitting level 10 either on chapter 8, like after chapter 7, or during chapter 8. So it's pretty easy to do. That's without using XP farms. That's just, using normal mechanics, not setting up weird situations and so on. But yeah, that's it for my Sage tier list. Definitely let me know if you agree or disagree. This is for base game, so no DLC, and this is without using any exploits. So no XP farming, no doing weird things. When I get Anna, what I do is I just have her kill half the enemies on her own map with a compact axe, and it's not XP farming because she's just killing enemies. I'm not having her heal a dude who's taking damage every turn. That's XP farming. She's killing, there's a finite amount of XP. I'm funneling it into her. Those are different things. All right. So definitely like and subscribe if you enjoyed this or found this interesting, and I'll see you in the next one.